Many people notice a strange emotional shift at night. During the day, they function normally. They stay busy, remain distracted, and feel emotionally stable. However, once night arrives and external noise fades, emotions that were barely noticeable earlier suddenly become stronger. This is especially true when it comes to missing people. The absence that felt manageable during the day can feel overwhelming after midnight. This experience is not random, nor is it a sign of emotional weakness. It is a predictable psychological response rooted in how the brain processes emotion at night. How the brain changes at night. At night, the brain enters a different operational state. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic, planning, and emotional regulation, becomes fatigued after a long day of decision-making and self-control. As its influence weakens, the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, becomes more dominant. This shift explains why emotions feel less filtered at night. Without strong cognitive control, emotional memories surface more easily. The brain stops focusing on immediate tasks and begins reflecting on emotional connections, unresolved attachments, and interpersonal bonds. Why you miss people more after midnight. Missing someone at night is closely linked to attachment psychology. Human attachment does not disappear simply because a relationship changes or distance increases. Instead, it becomes quieter during periods of distraction. During the day, social interaction, work, and digital stimulation suppress attachment-related thoughts. At night, when those distractions are removed, attachment resurfaces. The brain naturally seeks emotional safety, familiarity, and connection during moments of rest. This is why the mind tends to recall people who once provided comfort, understanding, or emotional security. It is not always the person you miss, but the emotional regulation they once helped provide. Emotional memory becomes stronger at night. Nighttime thinking relies heavily on emotional memory rather than factual memory. Emotional memory stores how situations felt rather than what objectively occurred. This is why the mind recalls moments of closeness, warmth, or intimacy while ignoring conflict, incompatibility, or distance. Research shows that emotional memory intensifies when sensory input decreases. In silence, the brain amplifies emotional associations. This is why nighttime longing feels vivid and personal, even when logic suggests that the relationship has changed or ended for valid reasons. You miss people or a version of yourself. Often, what feels like missing someone is actually missing a version of yourself that existed with them. That version may have felt calmer, more valued, or more emotionally secure. The brain associates identity with emotional environments. When those environments are removed, the mind experiences a subtle identity loss. At night, this loss becomes more noticeable because there are no external roles to perform. The brain begins reconstructing identity through memory, which can feel emotionally painful. Why the brain idealizes people at night. Fatigue reduces cognitive balance. When the brain is tired, it becomes less capable of holding contradictory information simultaneously. This leads to emotional filtering, where positive emotional memories are preserved while negative context is suppressed. This explains why people appear idealized at night. The mind remembers comfort but forgets conflict. It remembers closeness but forgets distance. This is not romantic truth, it is emotional distortion caused by cognitive exhaustion. Is this loneliness or emotional fatigue? Missing people at night is not always loneliness. In many cases, it is emotional fatigue. When a person spends the day managing responsibilities, suppressing emotions, and maintaining social composure, the emotional system seeks release at night. The brain looks for emotional anchors, memories or people associated with safety and familiarity. Missing someone can simply be the mind's way of signaling emotional depletion rather than unresolved desire. How to respond to nighttime longing. The most effective psychological response is not suppression, but labeling. Naming the emotion reduces its intensity. Saying, "This is attachment" or "This is emotional fatigue," creates distance between the feeling and the self. Studies in emotional regulation show that cognitive labeling decreases limbic system activation. This allows emotions to pass without turning into compulsive thinking or impulsive action. Nighttime emotions do not require immediate decisions. They require acknowledgement, not reaction. If you miss people more at night, it does not mean you are stuck in the past or emotionally unstable. It means your emotional system becomes more active when cognitive control is reduced. Night does not create feelings. It reveals them. Understanding this allows you to treat nighttime emotions with patience rather than judgment. Emotional intensity after midnight is temporary and amplified by fatigue. The feelings are real, but their urgency is not. This is Midnyx psychology, where night thoughts are analyzed, not feared.